Muy buenos días amigos y amigas que nos ven a través de mi canal de YouTube. Hoy vinimos a una conferencia de prensa que se va a hacer aquí en Radio Bilingüe. Esta es la estación donde pues yo soy voluntaria una vez al mes, y hoy se va a dar un anuncio muy importante, ya que parece que consiguieron unos fondos para poder mejorar el edificio. Así que vamos a ver a la conferencia. Ahorita va a comenzar, y para saber más de este nuevo proyecto para esta radio comunitaria que a los oaxaqueños y no oaxaqueños nos ha dado una voz, un espacio para poder escuchar nuestras música, hablar nuestros idiomas. Así que pues ahorita vamos a seguir a ver qué vamos a grabar aquí de este evento tan especial.
Comunidad Radio Escucha del Valle de San Joaquín. Ahora tenemos esta contribución, esta donación, digamos, estatal, un par de millones de dólares, con la cual pues, se propone la organización del director general Hugo Morales, de forma que logremos.
Muy buenos días a todos ustedes. Good morning. Welcome to all of our guests, our press. Thank you for joining us this morning here at Radio Bilingüe's headquarters in South Fresno in the great San Joaquin Valley. Buenos días, bienvenidos a todos ustedes. Gracias por acompañarnos hoy aquí en las oficinas y estudios principales de Radio Bilingüe en el sur de Fresno, en la gran Valle de San Joaquín. And welcome to all of our listeners de Radio Bilingüe listening across California and the U.S. who are listening to us via our live broadcast. My name is Jesus Chuy Ramirez, Radio Bilingüe producer, host, and coordinator of the youth radio trainings in KGC Salinas, our studios in the Salinas Valley. I myself have been with Radio Bilingüe ever since I took this training for the youth training as a teenager, and I got inspired by the power of bilingual community radio. Les damos una cordial bienvenida a todos ustedes, nuestros radioescuchas en California, en los Estados Unidos, que están escuchando esta transmisión en vivo. Mi nombre es Jesús Chuy Ramírez, productor y conductor y coordinador de los programas de entrenamiento de jóvenes en la estación KHDC en el Valle de Salinas. Les damos la bienvenida nuevamente, y estamos aquí en esta Radio Bilingüe donde pues yo también pasé el entrenamiento, y desde joven he estado primero como voluntario y ahora siendo parte de la familia de Radio Bilingüe, que desde adolescente empecé el entrenamiento y pues he seguido con esta Radio Bilingüe hasta el momento. Bueno, without further ado, on behalf of Radio Bilingüe, we are very proud to introduce our Fresno Assembly member, Dr. Joaquín Arámbula, who will announce the exciting reason we have invited all of you here today. Assembly member Arámbula has represented Assembly District 31 here in Fresno since 2016 and has been a champion for Radio Bilingüe listeners through the pandemic and beyond. En nombre de Radio Bilingüe, tenemos el orgullo de presentar a nuestro asambleísta del área de Fresno, al doctor Joaquín Arámbula, que nos va a compartir la muy especial razón por la que hemos invitado a todos ustedes. Hoy día, el doctor Arámbula ha representado el Distrito 31 desde el 2016 y desde entonces ha trabajado duro en favor de los radioescuchas de Radio Bilingüe en la región, especialmente durante la pandemia. Entonces les pido un aplauso para recibir al doctor Joaquín Arámbula.
Buenos días y bienvenidos. Quiero empezar con mis gracias al fundador Hugo Morales y a todo el personal que trabajando tanto para muchos años para nuestra comunidad. I wanted to make sure to start and begin by appreciating all who have worked for years since its foundation in 1976 that have made Radio Bilingüe what it is. Now, it can't go without saying that Hugo Morales has been there making sure that this organization is the preeminent bilingual radio station in our country.
Yes.
I am proud to have
Yes.
known all the hard work that they've done on behalf of our community. Now, for some of us who grew up here in town and who have parents who are advocates, who have found their voice actually here at Línea Abierta on Radio Bilingüe, I've known for a long time the importance that this station has had in making sure that we have effective outreach to all of our communities.
Yes.
And it should go without saying, but us Latinos are not monolithic. Many come from indigenous communities and we speak languages like Triqui or Zapoteco or Mixteco in addition to Spanish. And it's important to have radio stations that are providing culturally and linguistically competent care and access to information for so many in our community. We saw this particularly during the census when it was important for us to make sure that everyone was counted, as they were effectively making sure that we were bringing people out of the shadows during the census of 2020. We also saw it during the pandemic of the century, where they were effectively making sure that our community had access to information about vaccines and where they could seek those resources. What we know is that we're going to continue to have emergencies in our state, whether or not that's wildfires or floods or the next medical event that our state faces. And what we need are organizations that are effectively able to communicate with all of our community. And so I'm grateful that we were able to tell this story and to stand up and drive for resources that are so needed here at Radio Bilingüe. So it's with great honor that we were able to secure $2 million for Radio Bilingüe into the future. Now, while this is a great celebration, I will take a moment and have a call to action to make sure that those who are listening also feel that need to participate and help to make the change that's needed. Because the Radio Bilingüe needs to expand, it needs to have new facilities, it needs to have studios that are able to capture and share these stories across the 25 stations they have across America. And so I look forward to the work that we can all collaboratively do to make sure that we continue the great work of Radio Bilingüe. It's an honor to be able to be a representative for my community. But I also recognize that I need to stand up for everyone in my community, not just those who can vote. And that means that I need to bring resources back that are helping my community as well. Radio Bilingüe effectively is able to do that, and I'm grateful for their long-standing commitment to our community. Thank you for allowing me to share some words today.
Muchas gracias al asambleísta Arámbula. Thank you so much for those opening remarks. Now, I would like to introduce my boss, our Radio Bilingüe founder and executive director, Hugo Morales. Ahora a todos les presento a mi jefe y el fundador y director ejecutivo de Radio Bilingüe, Hugo Morales.
Good morning, and this morning I'm going to speak in English, and to save time. So, buenos dias. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are now standing on the ancestral land of the Yokuts and the Mono people.
Yes.
We extend our respect and gratitude to them,
Yes.
those brothers and sisters. When Radio Bilingüe first went on the air on July 4th, 1980, and some of you people are here who witnessed that first day, we began, and were part of that day, we began with Violeta Parra singing a renowned song, Gracias a la Vida. Thanks to life and expression of the gifts that life can bring. Today, I too want to express our thanks to all of Radio Bilingüe's listeners and to the many contributors who have helped make the dream of Latino community radio real. First, I give overwhelming thanks to Assembly Member Dr. Joaquin Arámbula for his incredible effort in making these funds possible. Assemblyman Arámbula has done so much for immigrants and marginalized people in our valley, and that includes obviously his district. During the pandemic, his work literally saved lives. He gave literally the vaccine to many folks, including myself. We deeply thank the state of California for their acknowledgement of our essential services through this generous investment. We are going to work very hard to leverage this vote of confidence and raise the funds needed to accomplish our needed vision. These state funds plant the seeds for Radio Bilingüe to look for and construct our future, a building for use for future generations. That may be a new building, like you may see here in one of our graphs, or it may be perhaps a dramatic renovation of this building, or perhaps extended. We've been told by our builder, Kirk, that we could possibly extend to my right and move the water that way. He will do that. He said he's got that magic to move the water and put dirt. So anyway, we're still working on that. We definitely want to work toward being able to better work with our partners. Today, we also begin envisioning the fundraising campaign needed to see if that dream can be possible. We will be calling on our partners, funders, and community people to join us in that campaign. Our new home is going to ensure a space for youth radio education and community events, and will improve our infrastructure to make sure we are on the air when our audience needs us, like during the pandemic and climate disasters. Our new space will still be where we will produce and broadcast all our great news and cultural programming in the Valley and beyond. And much of that program will be part of the Library of Congress. Next, I would like to give thanks to some of our partners. I thank Radio Bilingüe's wonderful board of directors, many of whom are here. Leonor Lizardo, our vice chair, Lea Ibarra, Domingo Zapata, Reyes, que came all the way from LA, Celia Maldonado Arroyo. They are from the community and know what Radio Bilingüe means. I also thank Radio Bilingüe Community Advisory Board members and hundreds of dedicated volunteers. You are the heart of Radio Bilingüe, and I thank our stellar staff for their dedication and hard work. I cannot thank all of our foundation partners, but I will name the California Endowment, the James Irvine Foundation, the Ford Foundation, and the Evelyn and Walter Haas Jr. Fund. Their decades of major support have allowed our journalists to report on all the challenges facing our essential worker listeners. We are talking about health access, immigrant rights, worker rights, racial justice, and of course now the upcoming election. We thank the Sierra Health Foundation and the San Joaquin Valley Health Fund for their champion support. They have helped us ensure our listeners are safe throughout the pandemic and get themselves counted for the census, and speak their opinions on policy issues that impact them. Sierra is partnering with us to educate our listeners on substance use disorders and how to get help, as too many lives are needlessly lost. We thank the Latino Community Foundation, and the California Arts Council and the National Endowment for the Arts for their support of Latino artists on our airwaves and our efforts to document indigenous music and history. And that includes Mixteco, Triqui, and other indigenous voices, music, and languages. We thank our hundreds of fellow nonprofit partners. I have to single out the American Red Cross for their support on our disaster preparedness programming. Many of our closest partners are here today, like Centro Binacional, Centro California Environmental Justice Network, Building Healthy Communities, Civic, Cultiva la Salud, the Fresno Bee, KVPR, Vida en el Valle, First Five, Fresno Unified, and the local community college district. We look forward to continuing our work with all of you here today. Thank you very, very much.
Muchas gracias, Hugo Morales. Thank you so much, Hugo. Now, I would like to introduce Sarah Reyes, Chief Communications Officer for the California Endowment, one of Radio Bilingüe's champion founders of our work. We're especially grateful of Sarah's support of Radio Bilingüe's youth radio training for our areas, Building Healthy Communities initiative. Many of you know Sarah, also formerly represented Fresno as an assembly member in Sacramento. And we at Radio Bilingüe were also honored to have Sarah as the treasurer of our board of directors. Vamos a presentarles ahora a Sarah Reyes, directora de comunicaciones de The California Endowment, una de las principales fundaciones que contribuyen con fondos para hacer posible nuestro trabajo. En especial, agradecemos el apoyo de Sarah en los entrenamientos de Radio Bilingüe para jóvenes de la región bajo la iniciativa Construyendo Comunidades Saludables. Muchos de ustedes ya quizás saben que Sarah también representó a Fresno en la Asamblea de California, y aquí en Radio Bilingüe tuvimos el honor de que fuera parte de nuestra mesa directiva. Entonces vamos a invitar a Sarah a que venga, por favor, Sarah.
Good morning, everybody. Earlier today when I walked up, I don't remember who told me. Oh, it was Miguel. Miguel Arias told me, "You don't come out for anything." And I said, "No, I only come out for the important things." And when Hugo called, it was definitely, I will be there to celebrate with you, and to celebrate with all of you, and to celebrate with the listeners. While I appreciate the walk down history lane, which tells you how old I am, I will say this. Well, I appreciate that the California Endowment is pleased to support Radio Bilingüe and honored to be a partner with Radio Bilingüe. I also want to thank the many listeners and many of you in the audience today. While we as foundations have been able to support the great work of Radio Bilingüe, it really has been you as individuals who have kept this radio station and the network of radio stations going. And so I want to applaud you, and I want to thank you for always being there, for keeping the listeners going and supporting, and for keeping the many talents of Radio Bilingüe's disc jockeys on the air and the information flowing. On behalf of the board of directors, my CEO, Dr. Robert K. Ross, our staff, and my colleague, Sabina Gonzalez Arana here, who is also in our Fresno office, I want to say that we are honored to be a supporter of Radio Bilingüe. We will be there. I'm sure I will get a call, or as I walk back to my seat, Hugo will be in my ear about what's next and how do we support the building and expansion of the programs. And I would say, if you don't tell me, or you don't have that conversation with me, Hugo, you're missing an opportunity, because this is the day to do it. We will be there. I also want to say, Radio Bilingüe for me has been a place of launching who I have been in this community. I began at Radio Bilingüe many years ago, learning on very old radio equipment back then in downtown Fresno, learning how to use my voice. This is where I began my career in media. This is also where, when I left the legislature, I came on board and helped to expand the opportunities for Radio Bilingüe as a board member. I was honored and grateful to be able to join the California Endowment and now be a funder and supporter. So throughout my life, Radio Bilingüe has been there. Hugo has been a dear friend. And I just want to appreciate, Hugo, your time and your effort, because your leadership and the leadership of Maria and Samuel, and I can go on, has really put Radio Bilingüe on the map, not just here in Fresno. This is a network of radio stations across the Southwest. We have to remember it. The head office is right here where we stand, but we are broadcasting throughout the Southwest, and we should be very honored as Fresnans to have that opportunity to celebrate this organization. I also want to say this is really the first time, I think, 3 generations of the 31st Assembly District have been in the same place. So to Joaquin Arambula, who is currently the Assembly member, thank you for your advocacy in Sacramento, for getting the $2 million. I'm sure you have a little bit more down there or up there. I've been there. I know you could dig a little deeper. So I'm asking you to go back and dig a little deeper, and because it's going to take more than $2 million to move water. That's all I know. But I also want to say I'm honored to be in the presence of former Assembly member Juan Arambula, who also served as the 31st Assembly District. So in closing, I just want to say, you got me and 3 generations of the 31st Assembly District. You're doing something right here at Radio Bilingüe. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Sarah Reyes. Thank you so much, Sarah Reyes. Y nosotros continuamos con esta celebración para anunciar los planes de las nuevas instalaciones de Radio Bilingüe aquí en el sur de Fresno, California, para todos nuestros radioescuchas que nos escuchan en las diferentes estaciones. Como dijo Sarah, efectivamente, Radio Bilingüe se ha expandido al suroeste de Estados Unidos, en Texas, Arizona, Nuevo México, Utah y Colorado. Our next speaker this morning is Reina Villalobos, Managing Director of Regional Programs and at the Center for Sierra Health Foundation. Reina leads Sierra's San Joaquin Valley Health Fund that is critical to our valley, and Sierra is another of Radio Bilingüe's champion founders. Reina is a public health expert and has extensive experience working in community healthcare issues. Nuestra siguiente invitada esta mañana es Reina Villalobos, directora administradora de programas regionales de Sierra Health Foundation. Reina dirige el fondo de Health Foundation y es otra de las fundaciones que son clave es otra de las fundaciones que son clave para el sostenimiento económico de Radio Bilingüe. Reina es una experta en asuntos de salud pública y tiene amplia experiencia sobre los asuntos de salud comunitaria. Reina Villalobos.
Muy buenos días. Good morning. I think I'm the first person that you have to rise as speaker here. De nuevo, mi nombre es Reina Villalobos y es un placer estar aquí con todos ustedes esta mañana. It's a pleasure for me to be here this morning with all of you. On behalf of the Center at Sierra Health Foundation, it is my honor to also congratulate Radio Bilingüe for their amazing work and their trajectory over decades of work here in the region and beyond. I know they serve the state of California and other parts of the western part of the United States. Before I share a little bit about the center and the work of the Center at Sierra Health Foundation, I'd like to just share a little bit about my background and why I'm so just excited about the work that we do here in the region, in this very important region of the Central Valley. I'm the proud daughter of 2 retired farm workers who toiled the San Joaquin Valley for nearly 6 decades until they could no longer work out in the fields. And seeing the injustices over the decades really was my impetus for pursuing a career in public health. I now have been just very honored to do public health work for the past over 30 years now. And it's really rewarding for me to be working at the center where the values really align with the work that I've always envisioned that I would be doing, and that's work around policy and systems change. Just to share a little bit about the San Joaquin Valley Health Fund, which is the fund that I get to oversee at the center at Sierra Health Foundation. The San Joaquin Valley Health Fund, also known as the fund, is a fund that really brings funders together. It brings grassroots organizations together to really do the critical work on the ground. We focus the work on advocacy, community organizing, capacity building, leadership development, networking, and policy and systems change. The fund was established in 2014 to address the root causes of health inequities in our region and the racial inequities, which means getting timely and relevant information to communities in a culturally and linguistically appropriate way that makes sense to our communities. And Radio Bilingüe has been there at the forefront to really get the information out. I still remember, decades ago when I first came to Radio Bilingüe to talk about the important work of the Medi-Cal expansion and how important it was for our communities to get relevant information in a timely way. And Radio Bilingüe was there ready for us, at that time I was working for a nonprofit, but really opened the doors for us to share information to our communities. Over the past 10 years, the center has been a proud fund. We fund different organizations, and we've been able to fund over 170 community-based organizations with the support of over 40 different state and national funding partners. Again, working together to build community power and build a healthy future for the Valley. We know that real change doesn't just happen. It does require everyone coming together, funding organizations, community-based organizations, community. And we can't do this work without the work of our policy committee and subcommittees, which the San Joaquin Valley Health Fund is part of. Issues in our communities are intersected. And it's important that we talk about health issues through a social determinants of health lens. We can't talk about health without addressing the health crisis, the housing crisis, and access to safe and affordable clean water. We can't have justice without facing land sovereignty. The complexity and the richness of our lives comes from the intersecting identities, issues, and conditions, and social factors influencing our perspectives and priorities. That's why the San Joaquin Valley Health Fund, through its I Heal policy platform, which was created by community-based organizations, is the foundation of our grant making. And I Heal stands for the most pressing issues that communities have identified, and they stand for immigration, housing, health, education, environmental justice, land use and planning, and the digital divide. It is essential to keep investing in community organizations that know the people, know the places, and communities are at the center of the intersecting issues. Radio Bilingüe has been a key partner of the center and the San Joaquin Valley Health Fund since its inception, and continues to be an active partner highlighting our I Heal policy platform, covering grassroots stories, and shedding light on key issues impacting our communities. This has been reflected in the airtime and in their interactive talk shows with community. Radio Bilingüe is one of the few radio stations that has amplified the issues our Spanish and Indigenous speaking communities are facing each and every day. Yeah. Radio Bilingüe was an amazing partner during the pandemic and helped us save hundreds of thousands of lives and stop the further spread of COVID-19. And ensured that our communities got vaccinated by getting timely and relevant information out in the most culturally and linguistically appropriate way. We are proud of Radio Bilingüe's role in the region and beyond, and the tremendous impact that it has in our communities. So thank you, Radio Bilingüe, for your amazing work over the years. Woo! And we'll continue to support Radio Bilingüe in its next iteration of the work that they do with youth development. As we know, the youth are our future, and we're here to support this kind of work. So thank you all on behalf of the Center at Sierra Health Foundation.
Tenemos al subdirector de operaciones de Radio Bilingüe, José Morán. Al igual que en mi caso, José también se graduó de los entrenamientos comunitarios de Radio Bilingüe. Se unió a la radio como programador voluntario cuando estaba apenas en la preparatoria, conduciendo los programas de El Rock en Español y Música Alterlatina. Hoy en día es parte importante del equipo y la administración que mantiene al aire día y noche nuestra red de 25 emisoras de California y también en el suroeste de Estados Unidos. Les presento a José Morán.
Buenos dias, good morning. Hope you enjoy the burritos. If you haven't, please take one to go after the conference. Please see Ana Jaimes and Enrique Sanchez at the truck over there. Also, if you like salsa, not that salsa, salsa music, then you could also listen to Ana and Enrique on Radio Bilingüe on Wednesdays, 4 p.m. They host our Acento Sabroso show and are just a few of our great volunteers that are present today. Thank you for joining us this morning at our current home. My name is Jose Moran, Deputy Director of Broadcasting for Radio Bilingüe. Of course, it didn't start that way. I joined Radio Bilingüe as a volunteer in 1995. I was 7 at a time. Just kidding, I was right after high school. Thanks to a good friend of mine, I found Radio Bilingüe because of the Rock en Español programs on Monday and Tuesday nights. I remember doing my homework with my stereo, listening to Armando Limón, Ramón Morales, Jorge Ramírez, the volunteers at that time. There was no YouTube, no Spotify, no online radio, none of that. There was only Radio Bilingüe, a network of 5 stations at that time, playing the music I like that nobody else was playing. Pretty soon, I decided to take part of the training to become a volunteer at the radio station. During the summer, I will come for the training on Fridays, sometimes Saturdays, even Sundays. Mr. Mark Anthony, Ana Chavez, Araceli Garcia conducted the trainings at that time. It was a 3 to 4 month commitment from my part, but I was eager to learn as much as possible. I learned how to use the equipment in the studio, the soundboard, microphones, reel-to-reel for the news. They taught me how to edit and many other skills I still use every day. For the musical programs, we use cassettes, vinyls, CDs. Nowadays, we call ourselves hipsters. On top of the technical skills I learned, it taught me the structure and always to be on time because a live show cannot wait. Sometimes I will have to take some time off from volunteering at Radio Bilingüe due to college, but every time a holiday fell on a Monday, I always make sure to make it to do my radio program. Fast forward, and as you can see, I'm still here because there's nothing else like Radio Bilingüe. I am one of the trainees now and excited about bringing the experience I got to more young people here in Fresno and volunteers of all ages. Working for Radio Bilingüe has allowed me to work with youth, people from the community, and wonderful staff from other nonprofits that support the same people we serve. Radio Bilingüe is now a network of 25 stations and the only national news service for Spanish-speaking communities throughout the nation. We have really outgrown this facility. I'm really looking forward to what comes next, and I hope also you will join us. Quiero darle las gracias a todos los radioescuchas que nos apoyaron, que nos siguen apoyando a través de todos los años, y especialmente a todos los radioescuchas que hicieron su contribución este pasado mes de julio. I want to thank all the listeners that have supported us throughout the years during our pledge drive, and especially the ones who donated this past July. Thank you again, and thank you for coming out to Fresno. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, José. Thank you, José. And finally, may I introduce Maria Reina Lemus. Maria is District Director for the Office of Assembly Member Dr. Joaquin Arambula. She came to the U.S. from the state of Michoacán, Mexico as a young girl. The daughter of a farm-working family, we are very proud and grateful for Maria's partnership on many initiatives here in our community. Finalmente, para cerrar esta gran celebración, Tengo el gusto de presentarles a María Reina Lemus. María es la directora del distrito en la oficina del asambleísta Dr. Joaquín Arámbula. Vino a los Estados Unidos desde Michoacán, México, siendo apenas una niña, hija de una familia de trabajadores del campo. Nos sentimos orgullosos y agradecidos por contar con la colaboración de María en diversas iniciativas en nuestra comunidad. Les presentamos a María Reina Lemus.
Gracias. Muy buenos días. Okay, there we go. Muy buenos días y muchas gracias por estar aquí el día de hoy. Mi nombre es María Reina Lemus, soy directora de distrito del asambleísta Joaquín Arámbula. Y podemos hacer cosas así de apoyar a nuestras fundaciones no lucrativas en el Valle, gracias a un jefe que sale a la comunidad y que sabe cuáles son las necesidades. So, thank you all, and thank you for being here. I'm able to do this work because I have obviously a great boss that likes to be out in community and likes to listen to the needs of our nonprofit organizations, our cities, and everybody that he represents. We've been partnering with Radio Bilingüe for a pretty long time, since the assembly member got elected, actually before, because his dad was a former assembly member and always involved in community. So I think him and his family have Fresno at heart and do everything possible to make sure that the needs of the most vulnerable are always at the forefront. So I'm very lucky to work for somebody like him, and thanks to that, we have been able to secure the $2 million for Radio Bilingüe. But that is not all. So I think what I heard former Assembly Member Sara Reyes say is that the endowment might match the $2 million while we look for more funding. So I'm hoping that that's what happens here. And as our budget years, like this year, they were a little stricter because of the money that's coming into the state. But when it comes time to really sit down with the assembly member and really look at all the requests, we always go to those communities that have never really been funded, because it's always the counties and the cities who get funding directly. And a lot of the times it doesn't trickle down to the people that are really doing the work. So we've been grateful that we could do that for the organizations. And I know Radio Bilingüe has been one that has stepped forward. They work with our office during the census. They work with our office during COVID, making sure that our communities had that information that they needed in the language that they could understand. So whether it was vaccines, whether it was EDD, whether it was redistricting, and then we also come and share information during elections to make sure people know where to go to vote, to make sure that they, if they have questions, they always invite us and open that door. And I think that's what we need to continue to make sure that they stay here in Fresno. When we came and did a tour of this location, one of the things that resonated also is that they want to make sure they stay in Southeast, in downtown, or Southwest. Because just like their mission, they want to stay where community is. And that is really important to us as District 31, and to make sure that our communities continue to get served. So thank you, Maria. Thank you, Samuel. Thank you, Hugo, for your leadership. And we hope that a lot of you that might have some extra funding in the coming year, as they start planning for their new location or the expansion of this one, that you actually help to contribute, because they are an organization that will stay and that will stay true to its values. So thank you for including me, and pull out your checkbooks whenever you can. Thank you, Hugo, and I thank you all for coming.
So we can do the formally presentation of the check in front of the podium here. So queremos darles gracias a todos ustedes por estar aquí presentes. We would also like to thank our listeners who are listening to this live broadcast from Fresno, the installations of Radio Bilingüe. Queremos agradecer a todos los radioescuchas que nos han acompañado a esta transmisión en vivo, donde estamos presentando los planes de las nuevas instalaciones de Radio Bilingüe aquí en el sur de Fresno, California. Vamos a estar presentando aquí el cheque oficialmente. Our brothers and friends from the media, if you guys have any questions let us know. We have a live mic, so if anybody has any questions, feel free. You guys don't go yet because you guys might answer any questions. So, is there any questions for our presenters this morning? ¿Hay algunas preguntas para los presentadores from your behalf? Nope.
The question is, why was it so important to launch this station? And that is, well, again, this Radio Bilingüe was established as a project in 1976. At that time, there were only two Spanish language radio stations, KGST and KTQX. And they were both limited to the sun, literally. They were only allowed to broadcast during sunlight. There was no service in Spanish or to Latinos in the evening. Sundown, no service. Radio Bilingüe was the first Spanish language bilingual service and first FM to serve the entire San Joaquin Valley. And that was the vision, but there was more than just the broadcast. It was the voices. There was no opportunity for the Latino community as a community to get on the microphone. Zero. When I would go to Delano, which I did house meetings, people would say, these were Latino farm workers, who would do the programming? And I would say, you. They say, well, I don't have a radio voice. And I said, neither do I. But your voice is important, and we're going to train you to do radio. And that's why you have people like Chuy, right? From the fields, from the poor families in Salinas, or Jose, an immigrant from Jalisco as well. Sarah Reyes, right? And, Tino Cuellar, who formerly Associate Supreme Court Justice. All these folks got their start here in Radio Bilingüe, the voices. So it can be true. We were young. Everybody was under 5'5" and under 26 years of age. All of us, all the founders, including Pam Whalen. So, and so that's how we came together, because we wanted to give a voice. Also, our música is so rich that was not on the air. The Spanish language commercial services did not represent our community. And that's what we do at Radio Bilingüe Daily. We literally give the microphone to indigenous people, Triqui, Mixteco, Zapoteco, to youth. And literally, we trust them with a mic, right? Why not? ¿Por qué no? So that's what Radio Bilingüe, that's why we built Radio Bilingüe, to give voice to the community and to celebrate the richness of our cultura and to have a platform for a conversation. And luckily, Samuel Orozco found us very early on, and he has really built an incredible team of journalists that have led the Library of Congress, ask us to be part of their archives. And for that, we're very proud. So that's essentially it. Is community radio with literally the community participating. That's what Radio Bilingüe is about, and also to be positive about our future, because and also to be always not just a window, but an opportunity for our Latino youth. That's our future. The majority of our Latinos now are under the age of 24. That's very important for us to always remember. That's what we found at Radio Bilingüe. It's the music and the voice.
So do you estimate how many people
Yeah, about a 500,000 people are Radio Bilingüe listeners. So our listening may range from anywhere from 3,000 to 12,000 folks at any one time, including right now. When I do meet people and they recognize who I am, like I go to Madera flea market on Sundays and get my pozole, they're surprised that who I am. They're surprised who I am. They can't believe it that I'm there at having pozole with them. And so they're impressed. Other people, I think, want to tell me about the music they like at Radio Bilingüe, or the dedication they would like to make at Radio Bilingüe when they give me a little note about who they want to dedicate a song to. That's usually, and what I often do with many of them is, some of them is ask them if they could serve on our advisory board so that we can learn from them what they want to see and hear at Radio Bilingüe. Thank you for the questions. Yes.
Okay, I have a question. First I have an ask, and I hope that whether you get a new building or you renovate, that you stay in Southeast Fresno. So whoever's here that can help make that happen, that's my ask. The other question is for the endowment and Sierra Health Foundation. And my question is, are you guys going to be matching the $2 million checks?
We already have a conversation scheduled.
It's a yes or no.
We already have a conversation scheduled. But I could take it out of your grant.
Yeah, as was mentioned earlier, there is a commitment by us to stay south of McKinley, right? That's where the greatest concentration are of Latinos in Fresno. Fresno is an important center, not just for agriculture, but for wonderful people. And we also admit and know that the majority of our gente are still low income with major needs and needs a lot of support. And Radio Bilingüe is so critical to serve in this community. For decades, up until recently, I lived south of McKinley. I made that commitment. And I would bicycle to work and just to see the gente and live among the gente. And I did that. I have done that deliberately to be able to be among the gente. So I was born among the gente in Oaxaca, Mixteco, Indígena, and now I feel proud of being part of the Latino community here. Any other questions? For an indigenous-led community media to look for a new home to accommodate a better place to work for its workers and welcoming the community at large, particularly our youth. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.
Hola, ¿cómo están?
Bueno amigos, pues este fue todo el video que estuve grabando hoy en este día. Es algo importante para la comunidad y ojalá que pues nos sigan apoyando con todos llamándonos y todo eso, ser parte de este gran equipo de Radio Bilingüe. Pues muchas gracias por ver mis videos, denle like si les gusta que yo les ande narrando y pues nos vemos pronto.